Emergency Gate 14 podcast in the middle of a snowstorm monsoon. Ross Atkins, my fellow four-eyed compatriot, made a move for Daulton Varsho, a move that Chris Black called in October. Avery, immediate reaction. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Okay, so I'll go back to how I felt. Awesome when I see it right away. Moreno for Varsho. I'm like, this is sick. This is really awesome. Love the deal. Happy to get him. I know what he's about. I like his game. And then word starts creeping in. Bob Nightingale, that fucking loser.
Yeah, fuck him.
He goes, Gurriel is involved too. So, okay, like, love the guy. Too bad he has to go. But I was like, okay, what pitcher are we getting now? We were all like, I shot for the Stars. They have one guy who led the minors in strikeouts. It's like, maybe he's involved. I know that wouldn't be that easy to move off Fat or however you say his name, Brand Fat. But I was like, okay, yeah, like Merrill Kelly, Bumgarner. I mean, Bumgarner's a bozo, but like as a fifth
number five guy.
Fifth guy, okay. And then we find out it's 2 for 1. And then I talk myself into it, and I like the deal a lot still. It's, for me, I was kind of not in the mud, but I tweeted it out, like Teo and what do I forget his name?
Lourdes.
Teo and Lourdes, yeah. They hadn't really won anything for the team. And someone tweets back and goes, okay, but Bo, Vladdy, George Springer hadn't won anything, but that's your core. Like, one guy led the league in hits. One guy was American League MVP candidate the year before, could have won if Shohei wasn't who Shohei is.
Yeah.
And then George Springer is the guy you give the most money to. Those three, like, non-negotiables, those are your core, those three. So you move off those 2 other guys who are, Lourdes didn't really play at the end of this year, right? He had that weird injury.
He didn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was fucking. Can we start the narrative? He lost the locker room when he didn't play in the playoffs.
No, but I think I love Varsho as a player. We look at it again, a guy who hit 25 home runs, only 11 of them were at Chase Field. He hit 30 points better. I know I'm not a huge batting average guy, but he hit 30 points better on the road than he did at home. Chase Field's huge, and he played Gold Glove caliber defense. Our defense is sick.
Our outfield defense is insane. Springer in right, Kiermaier in center, and Varsho in left. Like, and Avery, I saw you retweeted this from the Gate 14 account. The
Was
Jays,
the outfield fly ball thing.
Yeah, the Jays were all top 22 last year in balls and play hit to the outfield. So Barrios, Gausman, and Manoah were all in the top 22 in baseball and balls hit to the outfield. Lord knows what happened with those clown show Teoscar and Lourdes playing in the outfield with those balls. Now it gives us a good chance. I mean, it gives the Jays a good chance to be like, all right, now we don't have to worry about like Teoscar making a brain dead move in right field. Like,
I mean,
whatever.
The Seattle play where the ball goes in his glove and then goes over the fence is.
And it's kind of ironic. I did tweet that yesterday.
Yeah, you did. The Blue Jays main account tweeted out a video today of Vladdy and Lourdes saying, love this team and like love our players. And then they just shipped them off.
Yeah, it's
people who are unfamiliar with Daulton Varsho's game
are idiots.
No, but he's a West Coast player. Like, it's like being a Leaf fan and saying you don't get to watch a lot of Sharks hockey. No shit, because they're on the West Coast. But he's left-handed hitter, very fast, stole like 16 bases this year. Hit 235, which some people aren't gonna like, but just can play the shit out of the outfield. And the weird thing is he can catch as well. Worst case scenario, we don't need an emergency catcher. He's the emergency catcher.
And dare we mentioned this the last podcast. When the fuck did Jays fans start caring about average? They wanted to fuck Kevin Pillar 6 years ago and didn't mention an ounce of this dude's average. This dude is a freak, an all MLB finalist, a Gold Glove finalist last year in the National League, dare I say, in the West, playing against the best competition in baseball. In my opinion, last year was up there for sure. Daulton Varsho has 4 more years left to control. If Gurriel Jr. walks next year, what the fuck did you like? How does Ross Atkins justify that? Then he's the most hated man ever. Like, I think Ross Atkins is a smart man. I will say it, although we have come out of him a pretty decent amount on this podcast. He's a smart man. He probably knew that Gurriel wasn't going to sign next year. And
or he can just say that he wasn't going to resign him next year.
Yeah. That's another good point. But like, listen, the Jays got younger, and now you could make the argument like if they with like Lourdes is 30 years old, Daulton Varsho is significantly younger than him. The Jays got like way better, like because Vladdy and Bo are under team control until 2026, right? And if you're a Jays fan, are you okay with spending money on Gurriel or spending money on Matt Chapman to re-sign Matt Chapman? I'm taking Matt Chapman 100 times out of 100. I'd rather money go towards re-signing him because Matt Chapman, this is his last year under contract. Sign fucking Matt Chapman now if I'm Ross Atkins.
I like that. No, it's definitely smart. So now infield, we have 2 Gold Glovers on the infield, 2 Gold Glovers in the outfield. Well, Varsho didn't win one, but
should be. Yeah.
I'll give
potential
him
Gold Glover.
So two Gold Glove caliber players in the outfield, 2 on the infield. Kirk was really good framing this year, and then you have Bo at shortstop. So a lot of good, and then Bo defensive wise. And what do we say about Ross Atkins? Like initial thoughts after we lose the wild card game, defense fucking sucks. We can't.
That
pitch
was
out
the
of the
main
bullpen.
concern. You think Varsho lets that ball in left field drop in the wild card game where fucking Tapia was strolling over to it? No, this team got so much better defensively today. It's not even close. And you have a guy that could literally play anywhere, and he's going to be a freak at it. And that video I tweeted today, by the way, about that from that catch he made in San Francisco, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's a couple things that can be said about this deal. One, you can miss the guys that we lost, right? As fans, like we've watched Lourdes play forever. Moreno had a cup of coffee in the big leagues, but he wasn't like fully developed yet. He had some stuff to do for the power to play at the major league level. It wasn't going that way this far, but you can miss Lourdes, which I will. And then you can also be excited that this Jays team's better and different. Like this is not going to be very similar to the Jays teams that we've seen before. The bottom of this order is very fast. Wherever Varsho slips in really fast, we have to be able to like just sit down and think we're going to steal bases this year. That's how this team will manufacture different runs instead of hitting home runs with Teoscar, with a ton of contact from Lourdes. You're going to manufacture runs in a different way. And that's the beautiful thing about baseball. Nothing looks the same. In the World Series, Brandon Marsh was starting games, okay? He fucking sucks. Martin Maldonado was starting games for the Astros. He kind of fucking sucks too. Like having Kiermaier in this lineup, to me, as someone who's seen the Jays fan who's had a loaded lineup the past couple of years, it'll be different. You can have a shitty hitter in your lineup. That's allowed if he's going to play awesome defense. If
this is what Ross Atkins said, right? Ross Atkins watched that 8-1 collapse last year. And what did he say? This defense has let this team down for fucking far too long. It's time we switch things up. We change things up. I love Lourdes. I love Teo. Lourdes had a negative defensive WAR. He had a negative defensive run saved. That guy was a liability in left field. Yes, he had a great arm. He made a lot of plays. He's a first baseman. Lourdes is a first baseman, right? Great arm, not kind of a liability in left field. Daulton Varsho in left field, that left side of the baseball field, if Bo figures it out next year, is automatic. Chapman, Bo, and fucking Varsho, it's incredible. And is Varsho gonna make do you think he makes a stab to like be the starting center fielder next year, like Kiermaier in left?
No, I think you trust Kiermaier. You brought him in to do that, and then you can shift him there maybe. But who knows? Maybe day one. Another thing about Varsho with the bat, guy who pulls the ball a ton.
Yeah,
okay, he had a really low batting average and balls in play. I think they shifted him a lot. I'll look at that.
And there's no shift next year.
Exactly. And Chase Field has those weird ass right fields that they go deep before they go into right center.
Yeah.
Huge center field. Like we were talking about Whit Merrifield saying he thinks he can hit more home runs in Toronto. What about Daulton Varsho?
Yes.
There's a lot of good things. Okay, let's see how he played. He hit
Can we stop with the Trevor Bauer stuff, by the way, people? Like, that's all our comment section is. Like, just.
I mean, they didn't let Ozuna back. They're not going to bring in Trevor Bauer.
They're not going to sign Trevor Bauer, all right? Listen, I know it sucks because Trevor Bauer is a good pitcher, but he is a fucking dog shit locker room guy. No one on the Dodgers likes him. That is why they wanted him out. So.
Okay, so I'm going to look at the shift stats here for Daulton Varsho. With no shift, he hit 279. With a shift, he hit 262.
That's not bad. Like,
no, not that much different, but it's 20 points different. So,
but what I'm also hearing Robbie Grossman, maybe Dan Schulman just tweeted it. Robbie Grossman for the Jays as a off the bench kind of bat. I wouldn't hate that at all either, actually.
No, he was pretty horrible last year.
Listen. If the Jays get Johnny Cueto now, this offseason's complete. In my opinion,
I've loved what we've done now.
Me too. You're bringing up a lot of stats here that I like, man. Like,
it's different. Like, that's what we won't know because Robbie Grossman's a switch hitter too. That's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not about trade. But like, listen,
he's a free agent. We can just.
But the Jays fans just can't. You can't fucking ask for both. Like, what was the biggest thing in our comment section we got complained about last year? Oh, this defense fucking sucks. This defense, this. All that, like the bullpen. The Jays got better. Jays got better defensively. We will never have to worry now. And Daulton Varsho was a very, very good base runner. Lourdes was clueless on the base pass. Let's call it what it is. Spade a spade.
Teo wasn't very much better at all.
Teo wasn't good either. This team now can actually not rely on the home run ball. And I said this to you, I think, a couple days ago or on the podcast. This team is going to hit the lowest home run totals they've hit, in my opinion, in the last 5 years this year.
Yeah,
It's going to be a more fun brand of baseball because it's not going to be 15 strikeouts a fucking game, right? And errors in the outfield, like stupid miscues that would happen last year. Like,
and the new rules for baseball is to promote scoring runs. Okay, so the shift, the bigger bases they're promoting stealing bases, scoring more runs. None of those new rule changes have anything to do with hitting the ball out of the park. So if we're good at the other stuff that they make rule changes for,
that's a great point. That's a fucking really good point.
Because you can still sock dingers. Who cares where they're setting up on the infield? But
yeah,
most of the time you're gonna hit balls in play instead. So I'm excited. Again, I'm sad the guys are gone. You have to look ahead.
But you can be like that. You could be like that as a fan. You could be sad that Lourdes, because Lourdes has been a big part of Toronto Blue Jays baseball for
when we were shit.
Yeah.
Both of those guys. We were horrid and they were here. They were grinding every day. Maybe the effort at the end is not fully indicative of how their effort has been the whole time they've been here. So we're looking at narrow view instead of how they've actually been. But I'm gonna miss those guys. I'm excited for what Blue Jays baseball will look like this season.
Yep, I am too. And by the way, this snowstorm is the most fucked thing I've ever seen in my. I can't believe you're going to hockey.
Yeah, we're only in Acton. We're not going to Brampton. So
okay, I was gonna say, like, your borderline is gonna be in absolute hell.
Well, we have Chris Roach driving, so hopefully that drunk fuck will get us there. Eh?
Yeah, Chris Roach probably has no winter tires on his car.
But no, I think it's a good change. Like this, I was texting you guys in the group chat. It is so different than what.
By the way, JR, who's not here, he was very mad off the bat. I mean, he was mad.
Yeah, he was mad, but that's fine. He got his points out, and then his Wi-Fi crapped out on the live.
Why do we worry though about average so much now? Like they didn't care about, like, that's like the number one comment I'm seeing, man. Like it's
the first stat that comes up every time you watch a game. So until the broadcasts and they start making OPS the first stat that comes up, we're going to look at average.
Yeah, that's what we're going to look at. But anyways, this is how we'll end. I mean, Merry Christmas, everyone. We got our wish. I listen, hand up. I did say on the previous podcast about Chris Black that I didn't think it was going to happen. Stop talking about it's unrealistic. They did it. They got Daulton Varsho. They got a left-handed bat that could hit nukes. He hits nukes. I was watching some of his home runs. He hits fucking nukes.
Maybe I'll just make a compilation of them.
And it's going to be, that's going to be all time. And it's going to be electric at the Rogers Center. You got to think, man, like this team last year, not a slight, but this team last year had Bradley Zimmer and Raimel Tapia playing in the outfield. And now you got guys like Kiermaier, Gold Glove winner, and Daulton Varsho with 4 years left of control.
And now George Springer doesn't have to ruin his body in center field all the time.
And now you got a George Springer who again also had a negative defensive run saved or whatever it's called. So it's not good, man. So
he's committed to trying something different. I love that it happened. It's so opposite of the Leafs, who have just run the same core every year.
Yeah. So we'll say this: Kyle Dubas could never.
No, no way.
What would this be like comparison to for the Leafs trading? Like trading
like Nylander.
Nylander, maybe Tavares, maybe. Like Teo was like a Tavares type, though.
I think he's more Nylander.
Nylander.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, man. I mean, we had to do the emergency podcast.
Be excited, Jays fans. Don't
be excited. Let's fucking take the negatives out of here, man.
Kiermaier tweeting pictures of his kids in Jays jerseys right now. You love to see guys who are fired up.
Fucking heart and. This is Ross Atkins just working around the clock. This was the most random Blue Jays trade.
But it was, I did say to you, it was right after Conforto signed too. So
yeah,
you had to think this was plan A, plan B.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So anyways, Jays fans, sleep well tonight. Daulton Varsho is a fucking Toronto Blue Jay.
And his sister followed us on Twitter
already. His sister's in front of the pod now. We will be trying to get Daulton on the podcast. I've sent the DM already. We'll try to get him. But as always, man, the support's I mean, the TikTok's wild. Like, I had to turn my phone off notifications. It's been absolutely fucking insane. But yeah, it's been incredible, man. And I want to give a shout out to Aiden. Merry Christmas to Aiden. I don't know. My mother just texted me. Shout out to Aiden. But yeah, no, love you guys as always. I don't think we're gonna do a podcast Monday. There's gonna be nothing to talk about. So this will be our podcast for next week. Maybe we'll do one middle of the week or something like that if something else happens. But have a Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy your Christmas holidays. Bet on all the NFL games and bowl games tomorrow. It's going to be electric. We got just an electric day. Just electric days coming up. So we'll talk to you guys for the New Year's. Daulton fucking Varsho. Let's go. Any last words, Avery?
No. Merry Christmas.
There it is.